Hey internet folks, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk a little bit more about how we're all getting screwed by our own government and how I can't believe this many people voted for this. But it's happening. Not 2 hours after I made my last video, the news story came out that the Argentine government is getting a $20 billion infusion in the form of a credit swap, and also that they had suspended export taxes and that they had signed a giant multi-year soybean supply deal with China, basically fucking over our farmers again. Let me tell you something. The market for soybeans is gone forever. Between Brazil, Argentina, and a couple of other smaller players, the entire U.S. export market to China has now been replaced, and they're not coming back. And they're going to do it out of spite, not necessarily because it's the best economic decision. So what happened with that $20 billion credit swap here is the real crime. They're using U.S. taxpayer dollars, the money that you pay in taxes, not to bail out the Argentine government or help out the Argentine people. What they're really doing is bailing out hedge funds in the United States, people who are ungodly wealthy, who made a really bad bet with Argentina. Now, because of political changes, their investments are threatened, and they pressured the Trump administration into giving Argentina this bailout, all the while knowing that Argentina has a history of defaulting on their loans. Argentina's bonds are in junk status. They are rated junk status, meaning that there are real doubts that these bonds will never be paid back. And like I said, Argentina has a history of defaulting on bonds. They tend to view that the obligations formed by one government don't apply to the next one when this is not the international norm. And over and over and over, the World Bank, the IMF, and the United States has bailed out Argentina, and they've ended up defaulting on their loans. It's happened several times. I don't remember how many times, and I'm not going to research it right now. But let's talk about the scale of this bailout. Argentina's gross domestic product is only $633 billion. This $20 billion bailout represents 3.1% of their entire GDP. That is like saying that we're going to give them an entire year's GDP growth in a really good year where the economy is growing. That would represent a really good rate of GDP growth. That would be an indication that employment is booming, the economy is booming, credit markets are healthy. We're giving them an entire year's growth with no expectation that they can actually pay this back. And in return, they went around and fucked U.S. farmers. I mean, really hard. This market is gone forever. It's not coming back because we threatened China's food supply. China's food supply is not secure. They can't grow enough in their own country to feed the population that they have. This has been this way since like the 1830s and the Taiping Rebellion, and then the absolute expansion of Chinese population after that. China does not have the same percentage of farmable lands like we do here in the United States. They don't have soil that is as rich. They don't have as much in the way of flat, easily tillable land. And they have serious water problems, particularly in the north of China, where that water table is being almost completely tapped at this point. And at some point, China is going to go into conflict with Russia about getting water from Siberia into China to help feed agriculture in the country. Agriculture and agricultural imports are a serious concern in China, and we fucked with their food supply. This is a long-term plan for China. They started this in 2017, 2018, and the United States lost 42% of our export market then. 92% of the tariffs collected in Trump's first administration went to bail out farmers. Now, tariffs are a lot wider this time. There's a lot more products that those apply to. But let's face it, a lot of this money is going to go to bail out farmers as well. This time, though, there's no recovering even part of that market. It's gone forever. They may not ever deal with us on this issue again because we messed with their food security, and they may not deal with us simply out of spite. You, on the other hand, as the American taxpayer, are going to spend $20 billion bailing out Donald Trump's wealthy hedge fund managing friends. You're also going to spend probably 3 times, 4 times that much bailing out US farmers over the next 3 years because 25% of their market evaporated and it's never coming back. Farm aid was always seen as a temporary solution until markets turned around, until prices got higher, until there was a supply disaster in some other country. Well, this isn't happening anymore. China will probably never buy from us again unless it's an absolute emergency, like we see harvests fail in Brazil or harvests fail in Argentina. They're probably already going out and diversifying their sources to places in Africa, places in Southeast Asia, places in South Asia like India. This is not going to end. So if you are a soybean farmer, you're going to have to find something else to do because 25% of your market, maybe 33% of your market, depending on which state you live in, has evaporated forever. This is what the Trump administration did to you and to all of us. Tariffs are a tax. These are taxes being collected from U.S. consumers. It's now going to go to farm bailouts. It's now going to go to bail out rich hedge funds in Argentina, which I can't name, of course, because, well, these are U.S. hedge funds investing in Argentina, and I can't name them because I don't want to get sued. But look at their websites. If you see things like global solutions or alternative investments usually mean things that aren't investment grade. A lot of times that means bonds that are so far down in junk status that they may not get paid back. These folks took ideologically driven risks because they were captured by the idea of this libertarian paradise that Javier Milei was going to institute. It did crash the economy in 2022. They saw really, really good economic growth in 2023, buoyed, of course, by that relatively strong currency compared to what Argentine currency was like before. But that changed when Javier Milei's party lost that local election and then markets reacted negatively. People started selling their Argentine currency and dollarizing. Then those hedge fund managers put pressure on the US government, and now US taxpayers are going to bail out Argentina while they stabbed US farmers in the back. And the Trump administration hasn't said anything about them going around and stabbing us in the back and making these giant contracts with China while we're bailing them out at the same time. Anyway, just your daily dose of how screwed up US politics and the economy are, how the wealthy are being protected. It's socialism for the wealthy and capitalism for the rest of us. Anyway, folks, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.